what we did before we start? Okay, okay, yeah. Can anyone help me recall what we did the few weeks, the few days? What have we done so far? Anyone? Okay, anyone mention one thing you remember, only one. Since you joined this AMS class, one thing you remember or one thing you will never forget. You can type it in the chat box also, or you can open your mic and say one thing you will not forget, or one thing you remember that we did. Table and headers, good. Anyone else?
How to use the Microsoft Word to make my work design and pictures in my manuscript stand out, and how to
Okay,
actually do the paging and chapters
okay,
using the
okay.
header and
So
footer.
page, good. Paging chapter section break. Okay, nice. How to insert figures. Okay. Anyone else? Maybe somebody say how to open Microsoft Word. Equations, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. At least we are all learning something. Even for nothing at all, you learn one thing from the class is very important. Other ways to write equations, cross-reference with captions. Wow, powerful, powerful. Anyway, so let's move on. And then, Clement, do you have something to say?
I was to say editing font size and font color.
Okay, editing, changing the font size, and thank you so much. Hey, so you guys are really learning something. You keep quiet in the class. Sometimes I feel like either my network is off or I'm talking to myself. But well, I'm happy. I'm happy. You've made me happy today. I'm not feeling so well, but anyway, you've brightened my day with this kind of information. So let me share my screen. Okay. And then we can move from there. All right. Hopefully you can all see my screen. So we've touched File tab, Home tab. At least we've exhausted a lot of Home tab things. But today I want us to revisit the Home tab. There's something I really, really forgot. It skipped me. Okay. So in line with the question that was asked earlier about table of contents, I want us to go back to the Home tab. And then we'll try and make what we call chapters or chapter headers, and then other types of headings we can do. Okay. And so under paragraph, you have bullets and bullets and numbers. I'm sure everyone can use that. So I'm not really good at. You can also number. Okay. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that. Then you have the last part, which is my focus for today. So under that, you have current list, list library. There's a way of numbering things. But if you want to do chapters like in your thesis, okay, you can come here and then do this type of headers. It's already default for you. So if you see here, there's chapter heading, chapter one, heading one, and all that. You can also have the heading types here, just like we did before, heading one, heading two, heading three. It's all done for you here, even up to 9 levels. Okay, so in here you can use the template done for you. But today what I want to focus on is the chapters. So let's say I have chapter one in my work, right? So I have chapter one like this. You can as well modify as we do before, and then make it 16 times New Roman, bold, and then in black text, right? So we can have this. All right. So now we have the chapter heading. Chapter one, right? Let's say I want to do chapter two. What do I do? Anyone have an idea? I have chapter one. Chapter one is introduction, right? And then maybe you can let's bold in it. Oh, it's already bolded. So let's center it, right? So yes. So I center my chapter one introduction, and then I have 1.1, which is actually what my heading two, right? So let's modify our heading two here. If you've done it before, it's already done, so you don't need to do it again. but I'm just using the fresh template so that, yeah. So I have my 1.1 here. You press the tab button and then you have your background, right? It's not showing the head. That's heading to good. So I have this. Then when you do Control F or Command F, maybe for the Mac users, you go to headings and then navigation, you see headings, pages, results. So as you are doing it, it will show on the left-hand side. So background, we have some text there. And then I want to do 1.2. We've done this before, so I'm not really going to waste so much time on it. Tab, and then we have research questions or something like this. It's too early for research questions, but let's put it there. Okay, so we have this. Now I want to go to chapter 2. Anyone can advise me what to do? What do you think we should do? Chapter 2, literature review. What do you think we should do first? Anyone? Okay, so one good thing you can do is go to layout and put your section break, okay? Section break is very important. Section break is always important for you if you are writing a thesis, okay? So we are done with chapter 1. Now we want to do chapter 2. What should I do? Right? You can go back to the same place where we went before, which is home, right? You are still at the home button, and then you go and click on it, and then you can click on the article heading 1, and then you are good to go. All right. Mm, any question so far? If not, no, I'm not doing article. If not, I'll move ahead. Anyone, the question for me, chapter 1, we have this. Instead of doing headers, heading 1, heading 2 alone, we can introduce a chapter and then put in our chapter. Okay, so you click back on the heading 1 again, and then you have chapter 2. Then you enter. If you want another chapter, you can click back on the heading, the chapter again, you have chapter 3. If you want another chapter, you click back on, and then it keeps, once you click, it will update for you. Okay, so why am I introducing chapters today? The reason being that if I want to add a table, we did table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, right? But now I want to do it the thesis style. The thesis style where it's more advisable to do table 1 hyphen 1, table 1 hyphen 2. So it's numbering the tables of figures according to the headers, right? So we'll go back, go to insert. I want to insert a table, for instance, right? So let me just insert my table. Okay, this is my table. And the caption of the table is table 1. In the beginning, we could have done that. But now I want to do it table 1.1 or table 1 hyphen 1. So I'll go back to references, insert caption. And then here, okay, it's a table. So I'll change it to table. And then instead of just doing table 1, I want to do it table 1.1 or table 1 hyphen 1. So I'll go to numbering. And the numbering, I will include the chapter number, right? I hope we are all following. Okay, I'll include the chapter number and I click OK. So once I click OK, now I have table 1 hyphen 1. Okay, if I create another table and I update it, it will be 1 hyphen 2. I can create another table, 1 hyphen 3. Once I update it, it will become 1 hyphen 3, right? But immediately I move it to heading 1.2. It will not be table 1 hyphen 4. It will automatically change to, yes, 1.4. But what I want to do is, even though it's in chapter 1, There are two ways. Okay, let me clarify here. There are two ways. I can either make it according to the header, right? Or I can make it according to the chapter level, right? Since it's in chapter one, I can make it 1 hyphen 4, right? Which is standard. But let's say I move it to literature review, which is under chapter 2, and then instead of getting 1.5, I'll get 2.1, and then it goes that way. I get 2.2, and then if I go to chapter 3, I get 3.1, and so on and so on. I hope this is a bit clear. This is really important if you have thesis, maybe not good for a paper or not so strict when it comes to a paper, but when you are in writing a thesis, you can use this approach. Because I have a chapter and I have a heading as that chapter, I can do it like this. Same for figures. Figure 1, I can insert it without the figure even. So let me caption, go to figure. You can also do the same for the equation. So figure 1.1, right? If I go to the next figure, which may be somewhere here, and I update, I'll get figure 1.2 or figure hyphen 1-2. But if I go to chapter 2, it will start renumbering again. The first figure will now be 2, which means that the first number is for the chapter 2, and then that's the first figure in chapter 2. But it may not be the first figure in the whole document, right? So this is just for the thesis side. Any question? So under home, what we are trying to use is the multi-level list. Okay, so you can use the chapter 1, the heading 1, any one that is convenient for you, the chapter or the heading, these two. Okay, and any of them is good for a thesis. Any question? Any question? I'm sure this is clear. Okay, so I'll move on. That will be all for home. For insert, we are done with insert. The only thing I wanted to add was page number. Insert a page number here. You can also use this particular side, which is number. And then also you have symbol. Symbol also, like we use them in the equation, but since we've already talked about equation, there's no need to talk about symbols. Then the get in and add-ins, you can add as many get in and add-ins that are available as possible. I don't want to go in there, but the Zoteros, the Quillbots, you can try and then get that one. Okay, then now let's move to design. There's nothing much about design to say. I think it's one of the most redundant part of the Microsoft Word. However, it has its own advantages. Okay, so for example, if you want to use themes of writing, this is in terms of style, in terms of the text, how it's appearing. Okay, you can use certain themes. So let's say I want to use the iron board. Iron board meaning that these are the kind of templates I can use, something like this. Maybe you want to write some stylish documents. Please don't use this for a paper. Yes, but you want to make your work stylish for the report, in the business world, in the industry, you can try some of these things. But make sure that whatever color you use is easy on the eyes. So as a general rule, for this class, colors we can use in our templates, in our manuscripts, in our thesis, should be black, blue, and red. Black, blue, and red. Okay. If you are short of colors before you try other ones, things like yellow, please avoid them. Things like green. The green that you want to use should not be forest green. It should be olive green. Okay. Anything easy on the eyes. As you can all see, I'm having a visual aid. So things about color is very important to me. Okay. And it's also very important to every reviewer as well. Don't let your colors be like anyway. But please, let's be easy on the eyes when you are using the colors. Black, blue, and red. Okay. these are colors you can adapt in your work as much as possible. Okay, so colors go with that. You have a whole scheme of colors here. The fonts, you want to explore very different fonts, but I think the home tab saves you a lot of these already, so there's no need here. Then paragraph spacing, okay? In case you don't know what to do, you just want to click at a go and it sorts your paragraph instead of highlighting all of them and then or one section and then remove space, all that. You can come here, no paragraph spacing. So whatever I highlight here, if I just do paragraph spacing and I make it no paragraph, it means that everything here is as compact as possible. There's also compact, there's tight, and they are all the various ones here. You can explore them. There's double spacing. So you just highlight your work and in one click, you have double spacing. You can also do this in the home tab, so no problem. Then watermark. Okay, so for which is one thing ChatGPT is now using. Those of you who copy directly from ChatGPT and you don't know how to paste in your word, there is a watermark for every ChatGPT generated text. So if I want to catch you, I know how to catch you. Since you don't know, I'm telling you, but I will not tell you how, so that I can always catch the ChatGPT people. Please, any AI generated text is now incorporating its watermark because it's kind of its own intelligence, right? You are copywriting ChatGPT, and now it doesn't like that. So ChatGPT is standing for all the other LLMs, right? They are all watermarking their or copywriting their text, even though they are plagiarizing from others. They also feel that it's AI generated and AI generated text should be, how do you call it, referenced. Oh, I should tell you, I'll tell you so that I can catch you. Well, but one way you can make your work very I'll not say difficult to steal because someone like me, I can still find my way around your work, even if it's watermark. But let's use the function watermark. Okay. So how do you do a watermark? You can just go click the watermark. There are templates, they're confidential. I'm sure some of you have seen this one. Do not copy. But I don't want to do that. I want to watermark my own trademark. So I want to say that do not use ChatGPT. So I'll go to custom watermark and then um, no watermark. No, that's not what I want. I want to use picture watermark. Maybe you put your own logo of the company inside there. So maybe anyone who gets that document knows that it's kind of official. But anyone can do that, right? So let's go to text watermark. So I just type do not copy GPT. Let me not mention a particular one. GPT text. Okay. So this is what I'm using. Maybe I want to put it diagonal, horizontal, semi-transparent. I want to add color, but I want to hide it. So what I would do is I would apply and then okay. Oh, I made a mistake in my text. Okay. Do not copy ChatGPT text. It's still visible, right? So what can I do? I'll still go back to watermark and then still custom watermark. Now I want to make it as invisible as possible. Do I use the white text? Yes. So it's there, right? We all saw it before. It's there. But now you can't see it, but it's still there. So please, if I want to find out that your work has been AI generated, this is one way I can try to find out. Of course, obviously, when I read the first line, I'll know that this is how ChatGPT writes. But if especially when you download text files from ChatGPT. Some of these things are there. So be careful, please, when you are using them. You can copy the text and there are ways of re-editing it. Since I'm on record, I can teach you that. Okay, then we can go to page color. Of course, you want to add color to your page. No problem, black page. And then now you see that my do not copy ChatGPT text is here. So if you are very intuitive, I'm showing you the way, but indirectly, I'm not showing you. Okay, so no color back again. And then we have page borders. Okay, so page borders, for some reason you want to add page border to your work, you can also add different page borders to your work, maybe depending on the application, right? We are not only into academia, so let's explore some things. I think we used to do this in which level? Was it undergraduate or SHS? If I printed the work and I didn't have a border, I was not happy. Yes, I think most of even the schools in Ghana still enforce some of these things. Okay, so yeah, if you are in such a situation, you can just do the page border. Okay, so if you can see my screen, there are some two add-ins. Okay, you may not have them. You see designer and preview. Okay, so these are add-ins. You can go to the add-in and then find it there. Okay, or just go to how to add designer to my Word document. There's a whole tutorial on that. You can look at that. Designer helps you to generate ideas from text. Okay, so a figure from the text. You can do it in PowerPoint as well. So, okay, you highlight the text. Okay, what is the text about? And then you can generate a figure from there. It doesn't always work, but it works sometimes. So I'm just highlighting that you can use other plugins in the designer as well to be able to generate some figures that match the text that you've given it. And it's very effective also in the PowerPoint, which we'll be doing much later on within the month. Okay, so that's for design. I don't want to waste time here so that we can go on to other things. Any question? They'll move on to layout. Any question on design?
So how
Any
do you remove
question?
the border? How do you remove the border back?
This border,
Yes.
I want to remove it. Okay, so none. Just go back to none and then okay. If the border is there, just go back to page border and then click none. None, 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 none. Okay. And then it goes back to where we were before. Okay, any other question? Okay, that was very simple. We are still warming up. Okay, while we wait for the others. Then we go to layout. Layout, we've treated some parts of layouts. Text direction. Yes, once again, I think it was still back in SHS or undergraduate where we were so happy when we saw these things. So maybe you want the text to write across uh, the document. Well, if it's very useful for you now, you can still do it. So let's say I want to do vertical like this. I don't know why you do that, but if it's very important for you, please do that. The text direction going horizontal, you can turn it 60 degrees, 30 degrees. You can do this in many other charts and graph editors. So if it's important for you to do it in Word, fine. This is how you can do it, or you can just turn it by yourself and all that. But text direction, if it's important to you, do that. The margins. Margins usually is 1, 1, 1, 1 across board. Usually, the emphasis on the word usually. Okay. But if you know that there will be binding done on your work, as in binding in such that um, either they'll clip it, either they'll put glue there, then as much as possible, allow more space on the left-hand side. I think in my former school, it's 2 inches, right? 2 inches because 1 inch will be taken away by the publisher or the binder. That's like if it's your final thesis. And then the other 1 inch is actually the margin. Otherwise, when it's printed, you see that people would now be, if they don't take it, it will spoil your glue or your clip, right? So allow 1 inch for your binding space and then 1 inch for the real text, and then that gives the whole border. Okay, I think there's a comment. Please tell us how to turn the table um, lie across the document. Franca, I'm not clear with your request. You can try and clarify again whilst I finish that part. Yes. So imagines, I think for every school, there are their own. So the top meaning where the header is from the line or the edge of the paper, that whole part here. Okay. If you can see where yes, this whole part is the top. So how much space should we allow? Is it 1 or 0.5? It's up to the school. Okay. And then the left being this part, the left side also 1, it can be 0.5, it can be 2, depending on the situation. And then the right hand side, and then the bottom. So if you have usually let me see, I have a template. Okay, no, I've logged off my WeChat. Maybe after the break, I'll show you. So every school have their own requirement. They'll tell you top 0.5 inch. And then down maybe 1 because of a certain reason. Or yeah, so just follow the school rules and then you can customize all of that over there at the layout and then the margins. But there's a normal template given by Word, which is 1111. And then there's the Office 2003 default. And then here, the reason for the 1.5 on both sides is because of the binding. Yeah, that's why it looks that way. Like you just mentioned, text direction, can we do some in the table? Yes, yes, yes. So in a table, let's say I have okay, context. That's the only word that comes to my mind. Context, right? So context 1, or maybe context is a bad. Okay, so now I want to do context, and then I highlight my text direction to be vertical like this. I hope this is what you were asking for. Maybe for some reason, this is what you want to do. Franca, am I right? Or maybe that's not what you're asking at all. But from what I read, this is what I understand.
No,
Okay,
please,
what do
can
you
you
want to
hear
do?
me?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
think we the last time we were in a class, I think that was academic writing, and there was this
Mhm.
article that the table, I think they had turned it the other way. Instead of it standing straight like this, they turned the table. I don't know how to describe it. And it was more like
Okay, okay,
lying
okay.
across. Uh-huh. So he
Yeah,
told
I
us that
get
we
that one.
learned that in Microsoft.
Okay, okay. So the table has been okay. So we'll do that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Which is where I was
Okay,
actually
thank
going.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So
thank
which
you.
is okay. So we go to orientation. In orientation is actually what Franca. So Franca is leading the class today. So orientation is how you position anything, including text, figure, table in your document, and then also how the whole page looks like. Okay. So when we say portrait, portrait is um, the longer side of the paper is from the top to the downside. The longer side of the paper is along the length or across the length. Anyway, so the longer side, if you see the paper on the screen, the longer side of the length is longer than the width. Yes. And then for orientation is the other way around, where it's shorter on the length side and then longer on the width side. But anyway, my math teacher told me the longest side is always the length. But anyway, in this case, it doesn't apply, right? So from the top to the down is longer than across the page. That's portrait. But if across the page is longer than along the page, then that's orientation. So let's give an example where I think we demonstrated this before, but let's just do it again. So before I can do any orientation, once again, I advise you do some section break, right? So that what is before doesn't affect what is after. Okay, so let's imagine that I have a 10 by 10 table as an example, table 1.4, which I didn't draw. Now I want to draw it. Insert, I go to table and I have 10 by 10. That's how big my table is. And once I start writing, everything here becomes messy. So what do I do? Before the table, I'll go to layout and then add my break, right? Here, I want the table should be within the same page. Don't go anywhere, stay within the page. So I'll do continuous. Okay, so once I do continuous, it's there. And then I have another one where it's also continuous. Okay, so there's one break before the table itself and there's one break after the table. So whatever formatting I use to apply to this particular table will not affect anything before or anything after. This may not be a very good example. So instead of doing continuous, let me do next page. Okay, I think that one will be much clearer. So I'll insert my layout such that it's next page. Okay, so I'll start the table here. So you clearly see the distinction of what I'm saying. Insert my table, 10 by 10. Okay. Now here is portrait. You can see that along the page is longer than across the page. So it's portrait. So if I want to do this particular table, have in mind that I've done section break, right? So I'll just do layout and then change it to landscape. So landscape gives me the opportunity to do this. So my table can have more space across the page. So this is one way we can do it. So landscaping, you realize that here is still portrait, but here is landscape. It's still A4. It's still A4. Okay. Then I have this here. What can I do here? If it still doesn't work for me, maybe I want 12 by 12, right? Let's say, let me add two more. It start getting crowded again. So instead of, take it back to portrait, which is woefully inadequate, and then I'll change it to A3. So instead of A4 or letter, I'll change it to A3. So now A3, I have more space. Okay, I have it this way here. So you can put it in portrait mode or orientation mode based on your needs. Or you can increase the size of the paper to handle the table as well. Any questions so far before I move on? Any question?
Okay, so please, when you do it this way, when you are going to print it, won't it affect it in any way?
Okay, so let's save it first of all, then we see how it looks like. Let's say on my downloads, and then we'll see how it looks like when you are printing it. So test page, and then I put it in my downloads. Okay, I've saved it as okay, let me save it as PDF. Okay, so this is how it looked like, similar to what will come out to when you print it. Let me, oh, okay. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Okay, let me do a two-page view. Okay, so when you print it, one of the things that really happens is that because the page numbers are not the same or page sizes are not the same, the one that has more text on the larger screen tends to reduce its size because the aspect to width, the width to aspect ratio is reduced. Okay, even though you write it in Times New Roman 12, it will look like it's Times New Roman 10. So one trick you can do if you want to make it look the same, but of course, all the reviewers understand that this is the situation. You can increase the text size or the font size, sorry, in that particular page so that it matches up to look like the one in the normal Times New Roman. So maybe you have to make it, okay, let me just add some text. So text 1, here is 12, right? And then let's save it again. Let me close the other one and then save as PDF. PDF. Yes. So save. Okay. Before I move on, something just came in mind. Maybe I should say it before I. So if you can see my screen, as I'm saving the PDF, there are two options, standard and minimize. Okay. Once you click minimize, you are sacrificing most of your editing. Once you click minimize size, you are sacrificing most of your editing, especially if you are going to print it. What I mean is, if there's text quality, figure quality and all that, you lose most of it. Minimum size meaning that the size of the document will shrink, maybe a few kilobytes, but you should keep it as standard if you know that there are figures in your work with color and all the editing. Keep it as standard. So that's just by the way. Okay, whilst you are saving, make sure that if it's PDF, you keep it as standard and not minimize. Okay, so I don't have figures in my work, so let me just keep it minimum so it will save faster and then have little pressure on my memory. Okay, so save. Yes, replace it. Okay, so let's go back to trying to view the text. Two page. Okay, this is not so obvious. But once you print it, usually you realize that the text on the second page is much smaller, as if it's 10. So you can increase the size to accommodate that, or you can just leave it. It works anyway. And usually, if it's because it's A3 and A4, it will automatically move to fill the whole two of the, how do you call it? Two A4 pages that are put together, because two A4 pages gives you A3 page. So the table will now fill the whole place, and then you have that. Let me give you an example. Hopefully I have a document to show that. So just a moment, I'll show you an example of how it looks like in a PDF document. Okay, so many files. Okay. Then we have it here. Yes, I found it. So let's see. Okay, something like this. Okay, so if you can see, this is someone's thesis. So if you can see my screen, let me enlarge it a little bit. You realize that as I transition from page 23 going to page 24, it's all in portrait mode, right? And then all of a sudden I go into, if you can see it clearly, the transition is quite sharp. So you can see it like this, right? Here it's filling across the page like that. So we have that transition, okay, from portrait to landscape. And even the landscape itself is not A4, but in A3. So the text kind of look a bit smaller than before. Okay. Oh, and I just saw a typo anyway. So yes, this is an example of how it may look like. Maybe let me find other. Yes, this is another example. So yeah, hopefully that should solve the. Oh, am I even sharing? Yes, you can see my screen. So yes. All right. Okay, so the attendance is also in the chat box. Please, let's take attendance. All right. So that's for orientation. Well, size, I think is very intuitive. There's letter and there's A4. I've been asked this question before. What is the difference between letter and A4? Anyone can help me? Letter and A4. When do we use letter? When do we use A4? Is there a difference? Or we can sacrifice and use them any at a time? Letter and A4. Or we've never even bothered to think about the difference. Letter and A4. Anyone? Letter is 8.5 times inches times 11 inches. And then A4 is 8.27 inches times. Obviously, there is a difference in the dimension. But when do we use letter? When do we use A4? Any specific application? Anyone? Okay, so most schools prefer letter to A4 unless your school wants A4. Reason, I don't know, but just make sure that you are not using letter when you're supposed to use A4 and you're not using A4 when you're supposed to use letter. They are almost similar, but the A4, it's much bigger on the width side than the height side, right? Or it's the other way around. I think I've interchanged them. Yes. So here is 11 inches, here is 11.69. So depending on whatever you want to do, but if you don't have um any restrictions in the past, some people used to use letter. So like a standard letter you are writing to an official letter to a company. So you want to use that letter template. But now most of us are using A4. So you have A4 and then A3 and all that. So if you don't want to use it for any official purposes, A4 is okay. Even for official, it's okay. So just confirm with your school what size you are supposed to use. There is a little change. So it can change the number of text that can be accommodated on that page. It could be just one line and then everything moves to the next line, right? The previous page. So be careful before you start typing. Make sure that the letter or the A4 has been sorted out. In my school, I think it's A4. I don't know for your school. All right. That's for size. Then we can look at columns, which we tried to do earlier, but didn't go well. I think I moved too fast. So today we want to do a 2-column paged document, a 2-column page document, right? So let me move on to the next page here. I want from, let me insert a page number so we can all follow. No, I want to insert page number. Okay, so bottom of the page. Okay, good. So from page 4, I want it to be double column, not single column as before. What do I need to do to make sure that whatever is happening here will not affect whatever is beyond or before? I'll do a page break. Okay. So let me do a page break here so that from page 4, I know what I'm doing. Here it's clean for me. So I'll go to columns. There's 1, 2, 3, left, right, depending on the application, right? So most journals will want a 2-column page, right? But I want a line to be in between. So I'll avoid all this 1, 2, 3 and go to more columns and then choose 2. And then I have that option of putting line in between. So I click on that line between so I can get my line. And then I have okay. You don't see the line, but immediately you can look at the top. You see where the rulers are. Now I have 2 different sections with a gray in between. Maybe you are into newspaper writing, so you want to do 3 or 4 columns. Let's not go there. Let's settle on, wow, 1 hour already gone. Okay, so we have a 2-column text. You are not seeing the line yet because I'm not writing anything. So I'll try and then write something invisibly here. And then you see that my line is here. Right. And then when I keep moving on downwards to page 5, also I get that. So how do you create a 2-column page? Go to columns, more columns, 2-column, put your line in between. If you don't want line also, no problem. You can just do the 2 columns that showed earlier and then you are good to go. Any question on this part? 2 columns. Two columns.
Doc,
Yes.
when you're using the 2 columns,
Yeah.
what is the text size do we supposed to use?
Yes, that's a very good question. So the text size is still based on the journal. Here is more of journal. No thesis will do this, right? So it's still based on the journal. But I would advise that you use 10 for the normal size, or in the normal text. 10, sometimes 11 for the, let's say, heading 2. By heading 1, you can use the 12 and then bolden it. If you also don't want trouble, you can still use the old styles, 16, everything. But because it's kind of squeezed and all that, it may look too clumsy, right? So you can use 10 times the Roman 10 if you don't have any restrictions. But every journal also will tell you. So let's quickly go to a journal. Anyone from any field, please call your journal and then we'll go live and then go and check the guideline for ATA right now. Any journal so we can find it. Can
AMG.
columns be used in writing literature review? Columns. You can have a table for the literature review, but hold on to that question. I think let's go. Okay, so I saw a journal of finance and economics. Okay, so let me go to my journal of finance and economics. Hopefully I find it, the same one that you are. Okay, so hopefully it's this one. I'm not sure, but let's see. Just a moment. Verify that you are human. A robot asking a human if he's human. Are you also human? In a way. So you go to guide for authors, which is the first thing you should look at. Impact factor of 12. Wow, nice. Hopefully it's Q1. So about the journal, okay, good, good, good. No problem. What am I looking for? I am looking for file format. Yes, writing and formatting, file format. So we ask you to provide editable sources, including figures, PDF is not acceptable, format Word, in a single column layout. Okay, so here doesn't work for us. Double, so just type it like single column. But anyone who knows, I don't want to use my journals because to be like I'm being, why do some? Because they are lazy. They don't want the work. They want you to help them to, okay, no, not because they are lazy. There are 2 reasons. One, yes, because they are lazy. They want to make the work a little bit faster, right? So it's already in the template that they will use, which is 2 column, in the publishing of the journal, right? And then the second reason is also to stop you from writing plenty, right? Because they realize that when they make it, a lot of editing becomes more headache if you have a 2-column journal, like a journal that likes 2-column, right? Because if it's single journal, you can do anything, single column, you can do anything, and then, but most of us are not so comfortable with using 2-column. So it's one way of also making you, well, to reduce the number of submissions and as well to stop you from writing so many words, right? And it makes it easy for the reviewer to also IEEE. Okay, so let's go to IEEE. Someone gave IEEE. IEEE. Should I say template? Maybe. Wait, okay. I wanted the one that gives you the, okay, hopefully it's this one. Okay, there's another one here. Let's see which one. Okay, yes, double format. So we'll try and mimic an IEEE. Let's see. Failure to, okay. Accept all. US template A4. So the letter template and then the A4. And then there's also the latex people. And then, okay, so let's use the letter or let's use A4. Anyways. Oh, so this one, they even have a template for you. Okay, no problem. So if I have my template, so many tabs, I'm fine. Okay. So there's a template for IEEE and it's double column. Okay, great. So it says that, okay, let me enable editing and then I can see what, so their paper title is 24. Currently it's 24, unless they ask for a different thing. And then okay, it's 9, which is quite small, but well, that's the standard they want. So it's 9. So I think maybe in the journals that I usually go to is 10, but anyway, 9, 10 is okay. Because it gives it that kind of newspaper feel, right? If you remember our graphic and daily times back in Ghana, the text size is not so large, right? And you can compress a lot of things once the thing is smaller. So we forget all about our 16, 4, 13 and all that, right? But if you are not sure, just flow with what you have. Okay, 16 also works. Because I can see 24 here. Keyword is around 10, 9. Which one was it? 10? Okay, 10 was column break. Okay, abstract. So introduction is 10. Okay, and then the text itself is also 10. Okay, so we can use this as a standard, 10 and all that. Yeah, so in the document themselves, they're giving you what type of font size and font style they want. So yeah, for this journal is 10. And even the tables, they have 8. And the table headers is also 8. Yeah, so figure labels use 8 points. Okay, figure, okay. So everything is quite spelled out here. Okay, so let's also create our own convention, right? Because it can vary. Can you break the column up to a point on the page without applying? Yes, you can do that. So I'll try and do this here. So first of all, let's do the whole page first, and then we'll look at some other page, half of the page, in between the page, and all that. Okay, so whole page first. Now I have my introduction here. Instead of it being 16 as it would have been, let's now be a little bit lenient, and let's make it, let's say 14 or maybe 12. 12 is okay. Okay, so introduction, my introduction, and then I have a lot of text. Let's say T. T will be my text for now. So I have a lot of T's here. So instead of making this 12, I want to make it 10. For now, I'll just use the normal way, the home, and then you change that. But of course, make sure your normal has been, okay, let me just do it. Modify it to 10 because now that's what you want to do, 10. All my text is 10. Okay, then I have my 2, right? My 2 is literature review. So literature review is 2. We have that. Okay, no problem. It's 12. 12. Okay. I have my text. Okay, small teeth now. Okay, no problem. Now I want to introduce my table 1. I click back on normal, it goes to normal. Table 1. Okay, so we've done cross-referencing and all that. Table 1, figures, illustrate, blah, 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 blah. I insert my table 1, insert, table, do your thing. Okay, so now you can see clearly that it's only allowing within 1 or 2 or 3 of the cells or 3 columns, which is too small, right? Because if I start putting in text, even that is 8, I can't put much after 3, right? A 3 column. So let me reduce it to 8 since the other one was. So let's say it's 8. Table 1 is here. I've done all my things as I'm supposed to do. But I feel that no, I don't want this kind of lifestyle, right? So I want my table, it has 5 columns, so I need to do something, right? So I'll come, same layout, oops, same layout, go to layout, put your bricks. Now I don't want to move it to the next page, right? So it's continuous. I just put it continuous before and then after, before and then after. So I go back to breaks again and then I put it continuous. What is happening to my table? It seems like it's trying to run away, right? So I have introduction, literature review, and then I have a table. How do I fix this? I make sure that my table side would not be 2 columns. It's 2 columns. I want to make it 1 column so that I can have enough of it to show. So I just click it back to this. So even though I have a 2-column manuscript, my table is stretching across the whole thing as if it was single. And this is allowed because a special case, right? Oh, right. Oh, I'm moving too fast. Table 1 cannot be on a double or a 2-column thing. It comes too clumsy. You can't read it. So this is a special case where I want to insert something that it's so large, but I cannot use the 2 columns. So I'm going back to 1 column for that only. What do? You insert the section break, but here it's not on the next page. It's continuous before and after, so that that table, that figure, that equation, whatever thing you want to put there, the formatting for the single column only applies to it, right? Okay. Then I want to move on. I still type in my literature review. So the one who asked if my literature review can be double or single, I think maybe this is similar to what you want, but if not, you can still come again. So let's say this is my literature review, the year and the reference, the author and all that, the conclusion. This is my annotated literature review, the gaps, and then maybe the what? The methods they use, and then maybe something else. Like what? What? The key findings. So someone is here with me and saying key findings. All right, key findings. So this is our annotated literature review. So we have, oh, Dr. Mauli. Mauli is not your surname, so please, can you tell me your surname so I used to reference?
Okay, my name is Yevu. Yeah.
Oh, can you spell it for me? Your line is breaking a bit.
YEVU.
Oh, Yevu. Oh, that's my
YEVU.
family. Yes, I know that name. So Yevu Etal, don't worry, this is our own paper, 2026, fresh. The conclusion
Please,
was
can you hear
that,
me? I think I
yes, I can hear you. Can you also hear me? Can I be heard, please? Okay, yes. So hopefully maybe it's network break. Okay, so Yevu Etal, the conclusion was that all What's the conclusion of our paper? By that we have imagined to write. All emerging economies rely on AI. Let's see. What were the gaps we found? We found out that AI data, AI, AI regulations concerning data are quite underdeveloped, maybe. Okay. What method did we use in our paper? We use, let's say, a
We use Probit model.
profit model.
Probit model. Probit.
Please, can you spell it for me?
Probit. P-R-O-P-I. P-R-O-B-I-T.
Propit. Like this?
P-I. Probit. P-R-O.
Sorry, my network. B-I-T, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. And the key find is, of course, is there. Okay. This is an imaginary paper, so please, let's move on. All right. So I make my text like this, and then I keep moving on. I have a lot of other, right? As much as possible. Okay, it's okay. I have my full table like this. Then you are done. Now I want to keep writing. Let me keep writing my T's. All right, now I have table two. Table two is manageable, right? We can let it be on the two column. It's okay. It doesn't look so bad. So this is table two. You are good to go. No need to change. No need to put in section break. Okay, I'm still writing my literature review with two tables. Anyway, well, it's only imaginary in this class. So now we have table three. No, I don't want table three. I want figure one. Figure one. Figure one is a nice figure. Insert pictures. Let's use the normal pictures. No, let me use some of the online pictures, which is loading a bit. Probably, okay. So since our thing is about AI, let me see if I can find AI. Let me see. Artificial intelligence. Hopefully I can find something on that. Yes. Let me look for one that is not so okay, let's take this one. This one looks more infographic. I hope that's the word. Yes. So, okay. Should we accept this? Keep it double or two column, or I don't think it's too clear, right? Or we should leave it like this. Okay, let's leave this let's imagine it's clear. Then we're still writing. Of course, you put your figure and all that, figure caption. Yes. Now I want figure two. Figure two. Let me look for a larger one. I'll go to insert again, online pictures. Maybe regulations. Let's see if regulations will come up. Regulations, enter. Regulations have come. Rules. Which one should I take? Regulation. This one looks nice. Even though this is not academic, but let's just. Okay, this one, yeah, it looks like some conceptual framework. Okay, insert. All right. So now I have this figure and then I want to keep it as a single column. So I'll go back to before. No, delete this one. We don't use this one. Okay, so you can even see that it's not even fitting well. So no matter what I do, you'll not see what I'm trying to show again. So the best thing is I have to do a section break, go back to layout, breaks. It can be continuous, it can be next page, but let's say continuous. Okay, and then it's gone. It's gone to the next page. And then after that figure also, I have another break, which is continuous. Okay, then I click on that figure. Okay, go to columns and make it 1. Yeah, now I have free space to move everything. And now you can see what my figure was about. Okay, never do this. Okay, maybe like this, and then you center it. Okay, so that's how you can manipulate in between. There's something wrong with the figure, but anyway, you can manipulate in between single and double when you are inserting figures or tables. Any question? And the question about, can I write single space, do double space, single space? Yes, just follow. Write all your single space, just like I've done before. And then just before you start your double space, your double columns, sorry, double columns, you just put your section break, whether it's next page or continuous, and then you flow. When you are done, section break, go back to one space, one column, and then so make sure whatever you want to do, you know what you are doing. Wherever you want the double or single column, you put a section break there. Hopefully that answers most of the question. Shouldn't the presentation of the tables be uniform? Well, if you want to go according to, yes, it will be better if you make it uniform, all the tables like that. Fine, it's not a problem. If you realize one of your tables is having that issue and you want to put consistency, like I told you last time, formatting is everything, and everything is from consistency. So if you make a mistake, make sure you repeat the mistake such that it looks like the consistent right thing to do. Yes, so you can make sure that, but it really doesn't matter. Even if you see published papers, some of the figures are across the whole thing, some of the thing is one side. It depends. If it's, because as you are also making a single page, you are using more of the space, right? And maybe you have more things to say. So it's not really a hard and fast rule that it should be consistent. If the table is single, then every single table must be single. No, you can do it both ways, and it's okay. Just don't over abuse it. But if you want to make it consistent, why not? That's also a very perfect thing to see. And once anyone sees it, they know that okay, this is what the person was about. Yeah. So single page, single column, double column. Any question? If I've missed any question in the chat, please, you can highlight or draw my attention to that. Can you break up? Yeah, I think I've answered that question. Yeah, I've answered most of the questions. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Any question?
Yes, I had wanted to ask earlier on that, but when we're dealing with table creating, and you said officially we shouldn't use a vertical line in our tables, but when it comes to the column, you use a vertical line. It doesn't apply to this one.
No, it matters. Please, every other rule we said before still matters. Sorry, it just keep be. Yes, no vertical still works, please. It still works. All the old things we know, it still holds. Yes, firmly enough. Okay, so let me just correct that. Maybe somebody was not in the previous class. Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Yes, so it still works as before. Okay, yes, Miriam, you can go ahead.
Think with regards to the page sizes, are there
Yeah.
page sizes that are unofficial?
A5, maybe. Unofficial in the respect that if you go into publishing, most of the storybooks you read are A5, right? So that's for them. But in our circle of writing papers, A4 is okay. A4, but then it becomes whether it's portrait or, but A4, yeah, A4 US, you even saw it on the website. They mentioned they gave the US one and then the A4 one, the letter and then the A4. So depending on which one you want to use, you can use any of them. But in our terms of writing papers, writing thesis, A4 is what we always use. If need be, A3. But A2 is too big. So official, maybe your definition of official, maybe it can help me answer the question better. But A4, you can stick to A4. And A4, there are two types, the letter one and then the real A4. So, So it depends on the scenario. I can't cover all scenarios here, every school in their own, every genre in their own thing. And yeah, so as much as possible, I'm trying to give the general picture. But if you're not sure, just keep to A4. Any other question? If I didn't answer the question also, you can let me know. Yes. Yeah, I think we can all do this, right? Yes, the table in 2 columns, some common mistakes. What else can you? Okay, units and all that. Why should vertical lines be removed from the table? It's a standard, okay? If you want more explanation, visit our very first class on YouTube, the NUGS channel, but it's a standard. If you were doing something before, please try and adapt to the standard. The real standard is no vertical lines, okay? Yeah, that's a short answer. Yes, any other questions so we can move on? All right, I've seen something about units here, so I just want to chip it in. Which of the following that I'm going to type is correct? Okay, I want to write 5 newtons. Okay, Newton, the capital letter. Is this one correct or this one? The N is for the Newton. So let me make it very big so that we all see. 5 newtons. Let me increase the font size. Is it the first one in, let's say, blue? I like blue, so I always use blue. Or the second one in black. When you have a figure and a unit, should there be a space or not? That's the question. Anyone who is within that field of using units? The first one, I think, okay. These days I've stopped asking some questions, but the question I would have asked you is why are you saying the first one? But anyway, let me skip that. Anyone with a different answer? The first one, the second one, wow, interesting. Democracy. All right. So do we have to vote here? The second one. Okay. If I'm not being too forward, can anyone justify your answer? Why first or why second? You can open your mic so that we can see. I realized that when I open the meeting chat, it's not in the video. So you can first one, second one, second one. Okay, you are all right. Please try and convince me why I should join your first team or second team. Anyone? Or let me make it a bit interesting, like 5 square meters. Or let's say 10 square meters, like this. No. Control Shift. Yes. Trying to use the shortcuts. Anyone, please. I saw so many answers in the chat box. Should there be a space or no space?
No space.
No space, please. Why?
Because there shouldn't be a space. If you write 5 centimeters, you don't write 5 space centimeters.
5 space centimeters. So it should be like this, right? And not like
Yes,
this.
please.
Okay. Anyone else? She has just described what is on the screen. She hasn't convinced me. Anyway, well, there should be space. Yes, there should not be space. Just help me understand why. That's my question, actually.
Yeah.
Space, no space. Why? Why?
Personally,
Okay, I
since
saw
I
it in the IEEE. That's why I'm trying to, but it's not part of the class. I'm just putting that across. It's part of the formatting things, which I will highlight as a reviewer. So yes, Miriam, go ahead.
Mm, yeah. Okay, personally, I think that's the option without the space is the way we write it in writing. So I think that's how it should be it should be written as well when typing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your answer. Anyone, let me take one more answer, then I will give my answer. I believe the unit stands on its own and the value as well. It is not a word that should be joined together. Hence, they should be separated, in my view. Thank you very much, Andy. Yes, there was someone. Okay, there's another one. In standard scientific and engineering notation, the SI system, a space is between the number and the unit symbol. All right. You know why I'm smiling? Because I know the source of the answer. Anyway, let's move on. It's very obvious. It's very obvious. But anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the answer. Someone was speaking. Oh, I think I cut the person short. Yes, okay. So the answer is there should be a space in between them. That's the standard. Okay. So 5 degrees, whatever units for the triple E people, please. There should always be a space in between the number and then the units. So that's just by the way. All right. So we move on. If there are no questions, line numbers. Line numbers, I made reference to that in one of our previous classes, that you can introduce line numbers to help in the review process. In one journal that I know full well, they specifically insist that there must be line numbers so that if the reviewer is saying in line 54, you didn't spell this right, it's easier for you to go back and give the rebuttal, right? Instead of in the document, you didn't spell this. It's very difficult, sometimes. Okay, Abigail, you have your hands raised up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Please, I've seen many of the IEEE papers that the unit is close to the numbers. There's no space between them. I'm currently working on some, so I want to be sure if the line between the standard one, please.
From what I know, there should be spacing, but let's see. Let's find out the word unit from the templates they gave us, and let's see what the conclusion is about units. I have not published in Triple E before, so let's see. It says that write the quantity of the unit. Okay, maybe it's too early. The only thing it says about units is they should be primary units. Avoid combining the SI and then the CGS units. And then it says do not make spelling abbreviation like Weber per square meter. Use a 0 before the decimal point. That's nothing about units. And then what else? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. So it's up to you. I'll say because it doesn't say. It doesn't say here specifically, but from what I know, there should be a space. But if you've seen consistently, especially the very current ones, that it doesn't separate them, then just do like Okay, and you have evidence from why they are online, and then it's from that same journal, especially. Okay, and one trick, maybe I should have said this in the other class. Some of us submit it's out of the scope of this, but in line with what we are saying. We submit our papers, and then the rejection is out of scope. And then you like, but the thing is on the website, right? So one trick is that, every editor has its own perception, okay, and feel. So maybe for me, I love everything that is machine learning, right? So if I see a machine learning paper and we are not even considering machine learning paper within that field, I'll say, okay, this is an interesting look. Let me allow it. Okay, as an editor of Bruce Journal, okay, I'll allow it even if machine learning is not in there at the moment, right? So I just allow it. So sometimes some of the things on the website may look so outdated. For instance, I have my own personal reservations about some of the methods being used because I feel it's outdated. So if I'm an editor and I see those things, I may reject it because I feel there's no novelty, even though there may be novelty. Okay. So one trick of getting past the editor or getting your work under review is that download the very latest papers. Sometimes the one in press. So if you go to every journal, maybe I can show it. If you go to every journal, you see the journals in press or the ones that have been downloaded, have been printed or online. So you can go to articles and issue, you see latest issue. So that's where you should be going. Immediately, you can go to latest issue, and then you try and look at which of the papers there is similar to yours, or which of the papers there have used techniques that are in your paper. If you can't find one, there's a high risk and high probability that your paper will be rejected, no matter the content. Because the handling editors at that moment is attention is towards something. So even if he sees not so good paper, according to the standards of that journal, but it has that machine learning, maybe the guy just used random forest to run it. Me, I see it, I'll be happy. I'm just being honest. So let me encourage that line of papers. So you see 1, 2, 3 papers coming in, and then eventually you see machine learning under the scope of the journal, because after a while they've come to embrace it. This happens with new journals and growing journals, and sometimes even well-established journals. You'll be like, this paper, you've published it in 2020, please. That's a long time. We are in 2026. So go to the latest, not even last year, the latest one, the one that is still hot. How do you call it? The ink is still settling on the paper. Go there and try and find the one that looks similar to yours. Or if you have intentions of going to write in this journal, for example. Okay, so the latest journal, the latest volume is Learning by Lending Securities. Okay, I don't have a topic. I'm just casually browsing. Okay, housing affordability and premium income, the role of this. Okay, so I'll go through one of them or one that looks similar to something I may be interested in. How do income-driven repayment, student debt? Okay, so I think this one is interesting. Students who are OA. So I'll open it. Okay, casual browsing. So I'll open it and then please load fast. Okay. All right. So let's say I don't even know how to format my tables. I'll try and learn from this because this one has been accepted. Okay. So let's see. Okay, I can see there's a data link, data set link. Okay, so maybe my own data, I can put it on a website. Okay, I've learned that. Okay, then I go on. Keyword, student debt, income. Okay. I can take this and go and look at it in Borum, or maybe I'll get a topic from there. It's a nice, wow, there's data already, original data set, and it's available. Then I can use my own technique and then run on it, right? You didn't go in, you just went to the journal, and you are sure once you replicate this with some other technique, machine learning or whatever is within this field, there's a high probability that it will go through because the editor is in love with some of these things at the moment. Well, we are human beings. Our lab always changes. So that's just by the way. I've spoken more than 5 minutes on this. Okay, so this is how to plot a figure. Okay, the figure doesn't have a topic of it in the figure. Okay. Is there something about the figure I don't like? It might work. I'll do better. Okay, so this is how we write. Okay, and then we say that, okay, what's happening here? There seems to be some issue of a large space between the source and the borrower. I'll not do that in my paper. I'll do better. So this is how we learn. Oh, this equation. Okay, I can ask ChatGPT. How can I apply this equation another way? Okay. Yes, repayment rate. Well, like I said, you can learn a lot from so many things. So, but we are all trying to publish. We are all trying to graduate. We are all trying to learn something to help our research, right? So one way you can avoid or reduce the level of rejection by maybe 10% is this approach. Thank you very much. Okay, where was I? Before I veered off. Units, right? Yes, so for what I know, space should be between the unit and then the figure, but if it works for you, then just do it if it's together. All right, any question? Any question? Yeah, so I was about to do line numbers. So I can insert line numbers throughout the text or at a specific page, at a specific session. Yeah, just continuous for now, okay? So I number everything. All right, Dr. Maui, please.
Yes, basically, I don't know why my network or stuff like that. I don't know whether you've answered the spacing between the number and the unit, because basically what I know is that there must be a spacing, because in our place, in my film, when we write, you said that a figure is a number. A number standing for a particular figure. Then the unit is also defined a different unit. For example, we have names. We have surname and a first name. So when you put a number that you attach to it, it doesn't give any sense in science for our place of work, for my place of work. So we always advise that the writing there must be a space between the number and the unit. It's not, they shouldn't combine them.
Yes.
So
yeah,
that is what
is
we
true.
do at the.
Yeah, it works, but this particular application and this particular journal, they didn't specify, right? So I think they will not penalize you if you leave the space, right? For example, maybe you meet a reviewer who knows, then they will question you about that, right? And then you also, well, if you meet a reviewer who doesn't know, he doesn't care, so he will not even bring it up. But the standard is, or in our fields, or most fields, I think, should be that. And that brings my mind to another question. Yes, the more things
For
we
me,
could
once
say.
I see for me, once I see a manuscript sent to me to review, and I notice those basic mistake, I quickly draw my conclusion and write my decision on it. I don't go further reading much about the thing. Yeah, for me.
True. Same. I also, yeah. So we are dealing with human beings. So the general things that everyone knows, let's just do them if the general allows it. But if the general doesn't, then you follow the journal, please. Let's follow the journal and publish our works and go away. Okay, so I'm using this type of reference. It just came into mind. Now we are doing more of what we are not supposed to do. Okay. Okay, the first one doesn't really apply. So let's use the two of them. Which of this is correct? Another spacing matter. It's Yevu et al., right? And then if you are using what's the name of that system? Well, that's a form of referencing where you use numbers. Should we put a space between the name of the author and then the referencing number, or it should be together? This is another issue of space. Which one is better? Which one is acceptable? Which one is standard? Is it the bolded one or the unbolded one? Or it doesn't matter, like the first issue. Okay, what do we usually do? I'm sure most of us here, we've tried to write a document before where we've used referencing. Yes. What do we usually do? Let me put it that way. Let me not say which one is better because maybe we may not know. So what do we usually do? Do you put a space in between them or you leave them together? And there is an acceptable.
You put
You
a
put a
space in
space in between
between.
them. Okay, so that's the acceptable one. Okay, let's not waste time. You always have to put a space in between. Okay, let's move on. So we go to the reference. Today we are racing with time, so I'm moving very fast. Please, you can review the videos on YouTube. And please like and subscribe. Please, I feel like now I'm a YouTuber. All right, and then referencing. Okay, so after we've done all our headers, equations, tables, figures, our thesis is complete, right? We want to give a table of content. All right. So we want to give a table of contents in our work. Usually that is somewhere up the thesis, right? So let's go somewhere up our thesis. Let's say somewhere here. And then what was I trying to do? Okay. Okay, let me do it this way instead. Just see, and then all right. Just want to create insert. Okay, so let me insert a whole page, blank page maybe. Okay, so my formatting has messed up a little bit, but anyway, it will still work. I want to insert table of contents, TOC, as some people say it. All right, so you go to references, table of content, there's automatic table 1, automatic table 2, there's manual 1 if you want to do that. Okay, I prefer, which one do I usually? I think I prefer the second one because it says table of contents. It's already there. And it's using the old, this one I use. Let me go back to design. Okay, and go back to office. Yes. All right. So I have my table of contents generated for me automatically because I already have my chapters and my headings. So before you do table of contents, make sure that your headers, header 1, header 2, header 3, they are all in line and everything is there. Aside table of contents, I can also do list of figures. List of figures. Okay. So all the figures on which page are they, you can do that. So I'll go back to references. I'll insert. Okay, I have figures in my document, hopefully, right? Or do I? Yes, I think I had figures. Okay, so I'll insert table of authorities here, which is table of content, table of figures, which is the other things you can do. Okay, even table of list of equations, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm losing my thought. I'm getting distracted. All right. So insert table of figures. Sorry, not table of authorities. Insert table of figures is up here and close to insert caption, right? When you are inserting the figure, you insert caption, right? And that's where you do the figure and all that. But now I want to insert the list of tables, right? Or list of figures. So list of figures first. So you make sure it's figure, the caption label is figure, and then you insert it. Okay. So it gives you that. Then you can have your list of tables. I'm using list because I don't want it to sound table of tables, right? It looks like redundancy. So you change it here and then put table. But it's actually table of tables. Then you can list that here, right? List of tables. So these are the tables in my document. And then you can also have list of equations. Some people add it. List of equation 1. I don't have equations here, so, but I'll show you how to do it. Insert, you go to equation, you put it in there. It will tell me no table of figures found because I don't have equations. So let me put an equation there so that just for, and I'm sure we all remember how to put equations. Insert equation. Since I don't want to type, I'll use the normal templates. So I have my equation ready. My equation was about Pythagorean theorem. Now I want to use my old format to do this magic for me. My template I have already done. Insert. Oops. What just happened? Oh. Okay. So I go to quick parts. If you all remember quick parts from our previous class, and I use my template, put my equation in there. Okay, remove the borders. Okay, you didn't remove why? Okay, I didn't specify. No borders. Okay, I'm good to go. And my equation looks a bit weird because I didn't center my number. Anyway, that's a formatting issue. I should have done that before. Yeah, so I have equation here, and then I can refresh, Control A, and then update entire table. Okay, entire table. Okay, entire table. Okay, so each one is specifically for each particular one. Table of contents, list of that. Yeah, that's table of contents. Any question? Please, no. Should we add table of content to manuscript? No, no, no. Thank you very much, Dr. Maoli. We don't have table of contents for manuscripts. It's just for thesis. Okay. Or for any other documents you want to write, maybe in the office space. Okay, but manuscript, no, 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 no. All right. So that's table of contents. Anyone? Question? Questions on table of content? Okay, hopefully it's very clear. Then there are some times where we have what we call endnotes and footnotes. Maybe some of you may have seen it, but you didn't know that's the name. So today we want to talk about that. Endnote, we want to insert a footnote. So let's say in my table, yes, let's go back to our reference table here. I want to, yes, Abby.
Yeah, so you were talking about line numbers. I heard you say it helps yourself when a reviewer asks you to refer to a line. Yeah, so you were talking about line numbers and then you went to table of contents. So it's the same thing, right?
No, I already did the line numbers. It's
And I
here.
didn't, if you can.
Okay, I can
Oh,
reiterate that problem.
yeah.
So let me stop this part, next page, and go back to my single line. Okay, so this is line numbers. I can remove the line numbers as they are now. Go to layout, line numbers, and then you click none. They all disappear. If you want them to appear, you just go back to line numbers and then you click continuous. If you want it to number from the first line to the last line continuously, every page is still updated like that. But if you want every page, it's still number it and start from 1, then you can use restarts at each page. If you want particular sections that it's renumbers and starting from 1, then you do restart each session. If you want some parts to be numbered, others not numbered, you highlight the part where you don't want it to be numbered and say suppress for current paragraph. So I want continuously So I'm starting from 1. So as I type, my T's, I get my line numbers. So let's say I make a mistake in line 2, the reviewer can do that. I'm sure there'll be other applications where you need to do line numbers. So check if the journal asks you to do that. So this is line numbers. Under layout, you go to line numbers and then use that. Hyphenation, if you need it, you can do that. I hope I answered that question. Okay, so back to footnotes and endnotes. So footnotes is usually on the same page, right? But endnote is at the end of the document. They are the same place, but the endnote occurs at the end of the document, and then footnote occurs at the same place within the document, but not at the end. So let me explain too much words, right? So let's say in this our table, I want to say that let's say I've referenced it. Okay, it's 1. Well, you can use referencing as a form of footnote. And this is 2. And I want to say that these 2 papers is a rare case. But let's say I want to say that they are unpublished. They are not yet published, right? But I'm putting it in the review. So I want to make a footnote that these papers, maybe when you Google them, you not find, note that they are not yet online or they are improved. Yes, let's put it that way. It has been accepted, but not online. It's in the proof stage, meaning that publishers are doing their magic. So I'll go to insert footnotes, and then I'll put that 1 there and say that anytime you see 1, that is like a subscript, no, superscript, then it means that paper improve, right? And let's say if you see 2, I'll add another insert. 2 is paper unpublished. Okay, you want to give extra information, but if you put it in the table or in the text, to look too much, right? So you can put these things in there. If you open most papers, the footnote is corresponding author email because they can't put it in the document, right? So they put it there, corresponding author email, the address of the corresponding author, the journal itself, some information about that, right? It's important, must be there. They have to brand themselves somewhere in the work. So you constantly remember that this is the paper you are reading. So important information, but you don't want it to be clustered somewhere in here. You can just do a footnote. Hope this is okay. Hope it helps someone. So your tables don't look too long, especially with tables. It's a very good thing to do. And for the note bien people. Note. I think most of the business related courses like doing notes. Am I right or I'm wrong? You can do notes under your table, right? It's nice, but you can also use footnotes. It makes it, I'll not say too professional, but yeah, I think it's a better option if you can explore the footnotes. Because sometimes if your note is too long, right? Yeah, your p-values and all that, you can use footnotes. Any questions? And you can do them so many places within the document. Let's say I want to do this and say that insert footnote, this is 3. So 3 is actually what? The space or figure with space by the units or before the unit maybe. Yeah, so extra information you can give before the unit. I don't know if it's clear enough, or if not, I can give you a practical application of a paper where this has been used. Is it clear, or we need to give more examples? Footnote. That's what we are discussing. Any question on footnote? Is it clear enough, or we can add more information on footnote? Maybe you don't know how you can use it, or it's clear, please. Feedback, feedback. Hey, am I here alone? Let me stop sharing at this moment. Footnotes, okay? It's just a little trick we are using to help our work look nicer. Can I use the footnotes for the caption under the figure? You can do that, but I'll not advise that because you start fighting with the reviewers, okay? So you can make it briefly about the figure and its standard, right? And then you can put extra information about the figure in the footnote. So in the caption, figure 1, let's say highlighting, or what's the figure about? Let's say the trends of um something something since 2020 to 2024. Then you put the footnote by it, the number there. Okay, so let me just stop talking and show, right? So let me share my screen again. Okay, so where is my figure? My figure was somewhere. Figure is missing. Okay, so let's, all right, here. Sorry for that. So we have this photo unknown after, okay, this one. Let's say this is the caption, figure 1, right? And then I have, this was about what? This was about AI regulation, something, right? I remember. This is my figure. But I want to put this inside here. So I'll insert footnote, right? And that would be 3. Then I put that extra information about the figure that this photo is by an unknown data is line says and that is. This one where I can do it. So the footnote is there as 3, so you can see it clearly. This is a practical application of how you can use footnote. The information is not redundant, it's necessary, but you feel that if you put it inside the text, it may be too distracting. What's the appropriate font size? It should be smaller than the normal text, so maybe 10. 10. In some papers, will not use smaller font. Yes. So we see that it's not like a reference because some references use the 1, 2, 3. So if you are doing footnote and it's the same size as a reference size, then they will think that that was a reference. That is not a reference, it's a footnote, right? So sometimes you can also use A, B, C for the footnote so that there's a clear distinction about which one is a footnote and which one is the reference. So if you are using some form of referencing style, they use 1, 2, 3, and it looks similar to this. So if you are not sure, it may cause confusion, right? All right. Footnote. It seems the class didn't appreciate this one, so I'll quickly move on. Anyway, endnote same. You can add the endnote at the end of the document. Maybe you want to say something at the end of the document, then you can insert endnote. All right. Inserting citation. This part of the class has been covered by reference manager, manager class, right, which has already ended, and there's a job task for all those who attended to try and do, right, and submit it before 28. But let's say you want to do your referencing style manually. You can explore this option, but I will not advise that. But let's just say you want to know, so let me just show. Well, that was a rhyme. Insert citation, add new source, add new placeholder. So new placeholder may be references for my PhD or something. I don't know. References for masters. No, let me do the insert, add new source first. Okay. So here you have type of source. Is it a book? Is it a journal? Is it whatever? Okay, it's a journal article. The language is English, United States. Author. So you can edit the author's last name. Here it's Yevu. First name is Mawuli. Hopefully there is no middle name. Or let's just give it. Let's give him a new K. Add. Okay. So you keep adding. If there are 10 authors there, you can put it there. So after one, after two, you keep doing it. But then I ask myself, why would you choose to do this? But anyway, we are still doing corresponding author is that. The title of the paper, they've given us an example, how to write bibliographies. So that's our paper title, how to write papers, let's see. Journal name is education journal, maybe. Year is 2026. Pages is between 1 to 5. Show all bibliography fields. Means you want to add more things. City. It was published in which city? Accra. Month. Can put all those pages. Editor, if you have extra information, then okay. So now I can put my citation here. Okay, and then here also, no, yes, you can do different types of references style. APA, you don't like APA, you like MLA, you can change. You like even the Chinese thesis style is even here, right? Bibliography. Then now you insert your bibliography. How to, no, it should be under it. So this is my list of reference. Insert my bibliography or references. Yes. So this is it. Just like Mendeley or Zotero or any endnote will give you. At least you know this. It's nice to have, but is it profitable? No. Right. So yes, this was how we used to do before all of these reference managers came along. So it's just also there. Word can do this for you. Okay. Insert citation, caption. We've done this already, so I'll skip it. I think that should be all for today's class. Any question? Any question? Questions, comments, anything you want us to review? Today's class was very fast and very quiet as well. So hopefully now the questions will flow. Let me stop sharing my screen and then maybe ask a few people if they have questions. Questions. There are 28 people listening to me. Any questions? That's if I can be heard. Questions? Too complicated, too easy? We are processing, which is usually the answer. We are still processing. That's why we are quiet. Yes, even if you are processing, you can also give feedback. That's still processing. That's also a feedback I would love to hear. Wow. Anyway, Dr. Irene, are you here? I'm calling the names I know, at least home advantage. Awesome. Okay. All right.
Then
Yes.
hello, Prof. Please, you mentioned
Yes, the
my
class.
name, right?
Yes, I wanted to be sure that I'm still heard. That's why.
Yes, you're being
Thank you.
heard. That's why we are
All right.
waiting for you so the other class could also proceed. But
Yes.
your class is awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're
So if there are
welcome.
no questions, we would like to end the class here because we have another class. If something was too fast, you can also check the YouTube channel and then try and play it, stop, replay, and all that. So we'll see you tomorrow. And please, let's practice so that we don't forget what we are doing. Have a good night.